Interesting week we just lived through, William Lowry, and we'll talk about it here on this week's episode of Beyond the Fairway, presented by Genesis Senior Director, Community and Inclusion at LPGA. Laura Diaz is going to come in here, but there's some things, Will, that we got to discuss. Number one, I hate to come off the top talking about Liv, but I'm going to do it. Bryson DeChambeau almost got decapitated.
I know, by a steel rope.
Dear Bryson, how many ropes have you walked under in your damn life? Okay. And then you, with all the cameras on, decide to get clotheslined in the eye. It was his eye, ear, neck. All of this region on Bryson DeChambeau is shambled now. So, sorry, that was the funniest thing I saw, and that's why I wanted to bring it off the top. But I did see some sad stuff, Will.
What was that?
Danny Willett.
That's more cringing than Bryson DeChambeau. That is cringy.
Danny Willett. There's no reason. No offense to Max Homa.
There's no reason, bro.
He's the homie Homa. There's no reason that Danny Willett should have lost that tournament. Man, on the last hole.
No, if you ever have we all heard the notion. Sometimes you had to laugh to keep from crying. That was the moment.
That was the moment.
That was the moment. Because that right there looked like something that would happen on Saturday morning with the fellas.
Yes, after coming off a bender. Like were you drunk as hell? You just trying to get through the round, and then it's like, oh, I missed it. Oh, I missed it again.
Oh my gosh.
No, has Danny Willett won a tournament on the PGA Tour since his Masters? I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
He's won on the European Tour, on the DP World Tour, but he has not won on the PGA Tour.
People forget that he won the Masters. Was it 2016?
16 won the Masters. Absolutely.
It's funny that, when people say, when something like that happens, you gotta. The joke is you can't have anything sharp around. I see Suicide Watch, right? But he cannot have. He can't even have the corner of his replica of his Augusta National Masters trophy around.
No.
It will be trouble. It was trouble. And the thing about it, though,
they're gonna take the buttons off his jacket as a choking hazard.
and the thing about it is, if talk about walking yourself into victory. Max Homa, he stood himself to victory. What was Dustin Johnson? Wasn't it a 3-putt against Spieth in
I don't remember who that is. I'll be honest. You said Dustin Johnson.
Good call.
I don't remember him.
All right, well, you're gonna run into him one day.
Yeah, I already know.
Yeah, say that if you want to.
Yeah. Sorry, DJ. Still love you. No.
It wasn't a U.S. Open. Didn't Dustin Johnson do a 3-putt against
You know
Spieth?
what? I'll have to fact check. I just remember him getting that penalty at Wingfoot that was equally as painful.
I thought Bandon Dills. He did something at Bandon Dills or something. Excuse me. Maybe I was wrong.
Chambers Bay.
Sorry.
Same thing. Gotcha. I understand. It's a rustic golf course on the Pacific North. I get it.
Yeah.
Easy to mix up. But no, look. Was Max chipping in more clutch? Here, this is a hard question. Max chips in on 18. Okay, super clutch. Danny Willett absolutely choked. Which one had better shock value?
I think.
It had to be Danny.
In order, you know how you play things out at the beginning of something. You say, in order for me to win, this has to happen. When Max was chipping after he missed out a bunker or whatever, or when Max was chipping, and Danny had the 3-putt. From a Max Homa's perspective, man, I have to make this, and Danny has the 3-putt in order for me to win.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. You got to think about it like that. And Danny was like, Max has to make this chip, and I had the 3-putt in order for me to lose.
Ain't no way I'm losing.
And even when Max hit the shot, Danny was smiling like, "Good job, mate." Like that was, I don't know if is that the right one, mate?
Yeah, they would probably.
Yeah, it might be. He might be his mate. But it was just so funny, and it happened. But which one was more cringing, or clutch? I think the chipping was clutch because
chipping was clutch. I'm just saying the shock value. I was more
shock value.
Shock value. I think I was more shocked by a PGA Tour player 3-putting from 4 feet than I was. You almost expect players to chip in sometimes, but not 3-putting from. All he had to do was just just
tap it in.
Leave it short.
Yeah, leave it short.
Just leave it short.
I think he was really trying to make that too.
Leave it short.
But my thing is this. Though.
Well, he had to make to win. Leave it short. 2 playoff.
But you know what? With all that just happened and we witnessed, it really gives a message to our young viewers out there to never give up.
No, that's
because Max Homa.
I like how you did that.
Max Homa never gave up. He was fighting to the end, and damn it, he deserved that I guess he deserved that victory.
He deserved it. But I'll tell you what, our listeners and watchers, they deserve a victory too. It's time to go beyond the fairway with Laura Diaz. Beyond the Fairway welcomes LPGA Director of Community and Inclusion, Miss Laura Diaz. Laura, welcome in here.
Hey, what's up? Thanks so much for having me.
Laura, we don't have a lot of time. I just want to get straight to the point. Community and inclusion, what in the hell does that mean exactly?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I've been on a little PR tour around the company explaining to people what that is. Because as you may know, I was with the foundation for a number of years, just running our girls golf side, our leadership academies, and our scholarships and financial aid opportunities. But moving into this part, I just tell everybody you can see me as the connector, right? The LPGA for a long time has not been part of many of these conversations, right? That we're moving the needle to diversify the game or to grow the game. And I want to be that person that just steps outside of the LPGA's quote unquote zone of sort of comfort and just know that we're open for business. We want people to see themselves at the LPGA, specifically women and girls. So I'm just engaging in those conversations. It's a new position. I'm like less than a month in, but I just want to be that connector for whether it's organizations, whether it's different markets where we serve, our LPGA Tour tournaments. And I just want people to know that you too can be part of our organization.
No, it's interesting. I like the word connector, especially as it relates to DE&I efforts and work. But for those that may not understand, what are you connecting?
So mostly, I think it starts with I've always said that our biggest opportunity is our foundation, right? And the work that we do with the young girls that we serve, whether it's through our leadership academies, right? Because at the end of the day, I think we all sit around, but we ask the question, like we are in meetings that who is going to be the next Mariah Stackhouse, right? So it's really diving into those questions, like how are we going to go in there and tell these families, like, okay, this is what you need to do to be part of the LPGA? Because I think that, basketball has it right, with their AAU movement and coaches going in and talking to the families and having dinner and, they get it. The same with football, right? But I don't think that golf goes into the community, meaning the families, right?
So what are some of the biggest barriers, though? What are the biggest barriers you're facing?
I mean, I just think at the end of the day, we really, on the LPGA side, we haven't focused on it because we've had so many other issues or problems to deal with. And I think, and when I talk about issues or problems, it's really growing our tournaments, keeping our tournaments, right? If you look at 2009, we were on a position where it was like, okay, our tournaments might go away. Like
I remember that.
We need to make sure that we stay afloat, right? So I think now it's a really great opportunity because we see the momentum, we see the purse increases, we see more partners wanting to engage with not just the PGA Tour, but they're kind of saying if we're going to invest with the PGA Tour, we want to invest with the LPGA, like a Cognizant, for example. So we're seeing that momentum going, and now it's like, okay, we can dive into the DEI piece because I think, years ago, we always thought we were diversifying the game because we were providing opportunities for women, right? So that was like the crutch that the LPGA walked on. Like, hey, we're doing our part because we're really exposing women to the game. But now I think everybody's eyes are a little bit more open and say, okay, we do have a problem, and what can we do now?
Now, have you reached out to other governing bodies in golf, such as PGA Tour, to kind of help you on this quest of getting more, inclusiveness, or even going back to the, when it comes to viewership, you said there's increase in viewership. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think, one of the reasons is because of the different partners that we've engaged with this year, whether it's, Epson coming on, right? Or that we're seeing more exposure around the globe, right? We're getting more opportunities for streaming services. Like 2 weeks ago, we were able to be on ESPN Plus, right? I think we're getting creative in the way that we do our streaming, or the way that we actually provide people with the opportunities to view our tournaments, and that's making a difference, right?
No, I just think it's interesting, Will. For me, from my vantage point, I always felt like the LPGA was the tour to watch between the two, because it's more representative of how, most of us play. Like, I hit it just as far as them. I don't hit it like the big guys. You know what I'm saying? And I like the tact. But when we're talking about the LPGA Tour, and I want to stay on diversity and inclusion for a second, because I think a lot of people misunderstand what the DE and I mean. Would you say that the LPGA Tour is diverse? You can almost check that box.
Yeah.
if we're box checking, it's diverse.
But which happens, box checking.
Because we're a global tour, right? Like, we have a huge presence. Like, if you look at Korea, like, there's LPGA apparel stores in Korea. I believe there's more than 50 stores, and it is incredible. Like, people love to shop LPGA, the brand, in Korea. So if you look at our presence, like, nobody has it. Like, everybody knows what LPGA is. Like, everybody knows those 4 words. But I think we need to be more confident, and we need to say it louder, like who we are and what we're doing, so that people will actually listen, right? Because I think, and I know you guys said, we might touch on Live, but that for us is sort of a distractor, right? Like, that takes away from what we're trying to do. And it's, it's good, bad for golf, whatever it is. It's just interesting the way that the golf world is playing out, where it might impact what we're trying to do.
So
go ahead, Will. I'm sorry.
I'm saying, so, obviously with the Live situation has brought a lot more eyeballs to the game. And it's obviously there's starting to become a divide, so to speak. But does there need to be like a Live women's golf so we can have that drama to bring eyeballs to the game as well?
I mean, I don't think that's what needs to happen, right? I think for us, it's definitely a totally different conversation, right? Because the way it played out for the PGA Tour was that, the players just literally walked away, left the tour, but they have a giant infrastructure, right? Like, their tour is not really going away. You're going to continue seeing the guys from the Corn Ferries and Mackenzie Tours, and, in Canada, and the PGA Tour Latin America. They're going to keep rising up to the ranks, and that stardom. But for the LPGA Tour, it's a little different, right? Like, if, let's say, Alexi Thompson, for example, because she is sort of that America's sweetheart of the LPGA Tour. Everybody loves that Lexi story. Just an example, like, if she were to walk away, right, it just kind of be like, okay, now what happens? Which is why I think, our commissioner has come out and said we definitely engage in conversations, and, maybe it is a series of exhibitions, right? Maybe it is something that can be done to bring a little bit more excitement on our end. But that's a conversation that, that would need to be had.
But did Live do the LPGA a service? That's and not service in like a positive sense, but like, did it help? Because I guess, no news is bad news, no bad PR, etc. But the game has touched so many more people with this, what feels like a divide now. I feel like, Will, you got a set trip now. It's like, hold on, who you rolling with? You Live or PGA Tour? What you trying to do? I guess I'm asking, did the LPGA stock rise as this golf gangbanging happened?
I mean, I can't say that, like, it stopped rise, but I mean, I've definitely seen it as a distractor, just because of all the things that have happened this year, right? Like,
that's fair.
A huge announcement that came on, I think it was like on their big announcement came on like the week of the Women's US Open. Like, that was not great for us, right? It's kind of like, the tact part, and the way I think, like, people should have communicated a little bit more, right? Like, that respect, like, man, this is a huge women's major. It's like the highest purse, we're talking $10 million. And it just, like, everybody, we should have been talking about that week, right? Like, that should have been the main conversation. And it didn't happen that way. Yeah. So,
so one of the things that, obviously, Laura, what's near and dear to me is the junior space. And we know that, the fastest growing segment in women's golf, on the course, obviously is women for sure, but it rose from 25% to in 2021 from a decade ago to 19%. Now, what is the LPGA doing when it comes to the junior space to get girls early to keep them captivated and involved in the game all the way up to the, I guess, to the LPGA Tour?
Yeah, and also we have our LPGA, USGA girls golf program, which is sort of, I say that 7 to 10 age group is our bread and butter. Because our LPGA teaching professionals and many of the PGA teaching professionals and first tees that run the programs, really, they're experts at providing that gender specific programming, because we all know girls are more tribal, right? We all know that girls really, they.
No. You said, hey, I'm gonna tell you right now. You said it. It's on here.
Yeah.
I'm going upstairs to my wife right now. I'm like, hey, you know you tribal, right?
I no lie. There's no lie about that. They really, we really thrive in those, female environments, and especially with the female role models, where, the majority of our programs, and I'd say close to 90% of our programs are female led, which is great. We have a lot more male PGA professionals that are interested in joining because they want to grow more girls in the game. So I would say that girls golf is at the forefront of that. We have close to 520 sites across the United States, and we continue to grow. It's really that program. I say it's super easy, and how it's different from a first tee, for example, because a lot of people always ask, is that we're not brick and mortar. We're really a program that you can bring to a putting green, a driving range, and make something fun happen for the kids. And we do partner with a lot of first tee chapters, for example, and they use that as sort of a funnel to attract more girls.
So when you say attracting more girls, I think that can be a positive and negative, because of how you look at it. When we talk about influencers in the game of golf, I know Doug and I, we haven't really been, looking at the influence space when it comes to the women, the sex appeal in golf. Doug, I know you haven't, I haven't either. But
I don't know what you're talking about. What the hell?
I guess Doug clicked on a couple likes. But when you see the sex appeal in golf and the influencer space, is that hurting your efforts? Is that hurting your efforts when it comes to growing the game?
I mean, I don't see that it is. Like, I'm the type of person that it's more like, do you, right? Like, I think there's definitely, I can't speak for people that are trying to sort of make their mark in the game in that way. But I don't see it as a negative, right? If it's going to attract, more people and get more eyeballs on the game itself. I think it depends, right? Like, you're talking about an influencer, right? Like a Tish Haleen, for example, like, I think what she does is amazing.
No. I'm not talking about Tish Haleen.
Okay.
I'm not talking.
Hold on, shout out to Tish. First of all, Tish, what's happening? How you doing?
Because I think what she does is amazing.
That's our second.
I'm talking about, sis. I'm talking about the girls who are out there in bikinis hitting a 9-iron on the beach. Is that helping?
Hey, Beyonce did that once. I can't say that was a bad thing for us.
She's with the Beyonce reference. You got me on that one.
No, but I do find it overall interesting, Laura, because when I look at golf as a whole, we're the only professional sport that has influencers. When I haven't seen a tennis influencer. I haven't seen NBA, I haven't seen any other sport kind of rely on influencer marketing, etc. that I have, like the game of golf. Now, do I think it could be utilized in a positive way? Absolutely. But to Will's point, I do feel like outside looking in, like some of the influencers that choose to show their confidence in the various ways, I feel like that also shows younger girls that it's okay to be an object of sexuality in the game of golf. And that's kind of like where I kind of like, I don't want to say tough. Cringe, but I'm kind of like, is this growing the game?
No, I mean, I get where you're coming from, in that standpoint. And I can't really say that from that piece, it's really growing the game, right? I think at the end of the day, it's more.
It's growing something. It's growing something.
It's growing something of maybe more followers, but it's just so interesting the way things are playing out now. Like NIL, perfect example. Like the highest paid NIL athlete is a gymnast, right? And it's just crazy how. And if you look at her profile, she's like no gymnastics pictures. And she's getting paid like incredible amounts of money, like maybe $20,000 a post, right?
Damn,
just
let me get $200 a post.
There you go. So I just think that everything is changing so quickly, right? And I just think there's, and I just use NIL as an example, right? Because it's out there, right? And there could be maybe some opportunities for some golfers through that, but it's just I'm interested to keep watching. That's what I'll say.
It's the ROI for me.
Let them have it, Doug. Let them have it.
No, and look, we're in an impression-driven, impression-heavy society, right? I think overall marketing is changing. I think if you've got an influencer that's got 3 million followers and you're going to do like an ad spend, you hope to see 40,000 people engage with their posts. If you got somebody that's got high engagement, they got 3 million followers, you're going to get over 200,000-300,000 people that see that post. So I think we're really in this interesting era of companies choosing to go that route, specifically versus media buys, ad spends, larger campaigns, and that's is the LPGA from your seat investing in, I guess, influencer marketing to help with your efforts?
I think we are starting that conversation. So we actually just hired a new chief marketing officer a couple months ago, and they're in that strategic phase, right?
And they only got 18 months. They better hurry up.
Yeah, they better hurry up. But I think yes. To answer your question, yes, I think there'll be some really cool stuff down the pipeline, for us. So I'm excited about.
Well, I'm just gonna say this right now on our show: when you need DE&I people to help out the LPGA tour, think of Will, because Will already did some stuff for they changed the name, the Tournament of Champions. What's it called, Will? I don't know what it's called now.
The Hilton Grand Vacation.
There we go.
Grand Vacations.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so appreciative of where the game is going from the junior perspective. How they're including and weaving in both junior and, I guess, a platform to bring eyeballs to juniors and women's golf. Mm-hmm. When you think about the Annika Invitational, well, Yana Wilson, played in Annika's junior golf tournament, and she was rewarded an exemption into the Hilton Grand Vacation Tournament of Champions as a celebrity or inviting guest. But I'm just so focus driven on where's the LPGA? What are the steps that needs to happen? I mean, I know you explain, what you like to happen, but next steps tomorrow. What is the focus for you to get this conversation moving forward, the train going in a direction where we can grow these? I mean, just to have the kids more involved, because Doug and I, we are quick to come up with some type of. We can definitely explain and navigate how we can get this thing going, because we'd definitely be greenside or
no. Will can do that. I'm just out here living.
We can do it all. But what are next steps? I mean, what is next step? Immediate steps, immediate action items right now, Ms. LD?
I mean, I think at the end of the day is continuing to give our kids, whether it's Black, Brown, Hispanic kids, the more opportunities, right? Like, right. I was talking to Legine Gould in Atlanta. She's really enthused about an event that she's going to host, the Atlanta Girls Cup, because what she's seen through the years is like we don't give our kids enough playing opportunities for them to see what it's going to be like to play at the elite level, right? So when you talk about bringing more girls, right, who's going to be that next Mariah Stackhouse? Okay, we need to start at the level where we can actually give access to kids to actually play in these tournaments, right? So then they can, and very similar to what Underrated's doing, right, in partnership with the AJGA, because the AJGA is top tier, right? But it's just really starting with those opportunities, right, to give, in my case, right, more girls. And when I talk to some of the players on Epson, right, it's kind of like, okay, trying to come up for them, the immediate is money, right?
That's what's always been.
And from APGA and that immediate, okay, how do I get some money so I continue to play week after week, right? And thankfully, with the Epson tour and on the LPGA side, we're up, I believe it's 62% in major purses and 38% overall for our tournaments with 90 million purse. And we're starting to do something more at the LPGA where we want to start all of our partnerships with like purses need to be at 2 million and higher, because that will ensure that the player who makes the cut at least makes about $6,000, and that'll get them to make a little bit more money, because I think we noticed that the sweet spot was close to $5,000 for them. So if they make $5,000, they just break even. So we want them to make a little bit more money. So I think at the end of the day, it's a little different for the girls that are already on the tour playing, and then the next generation.
But see, here's my thing, and I'm gonna get messy real quick, Will. I'm gonna get messy because I love that. I love everything you just said. But if we take the APGA model, okay, and we have players playing professionally and they're coming up through the ranks, and now players from HBCUs are feeding into the APGA, etc. APGA is getting more exemptions than they've ever had in the PGA Tour events. We are not seeing success through that model. There are players on the APGA Tour that played in 5 PGA Tour events, didn't make a cut, didn't sniff a cut, didn't even beat a player. Now, they've had the access granted, okay? And it's a reality, okay? So people can get mad at me for saying this. I don't care. Let's go look at the numbers in the reverse leaderboards. You'll see what I'm talking about. We see the model. In that case, it hadn't worked. Now, Willie Mack, he's made a couple cuts on the PGA Tour. Great. We've seen other players not sniff the cut, not sniff top 120 in the field of 156. What is it that you can take from that to ensure that the ladies, girls are prepared to be in those high stress, high impression venues?
I mean, it all comes down to like that team that's around you, right? Like I'll just use my example because it's fresh, right? Maria Torres, she's from Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. She was on tour, I believe, for 4 years, lost her card last year. She's on Epson. She won on Epson yesterday.
Nice.
It's her first victory. Maria eats, breathes, sleeps golf. Like, she is out there hustling hard, training. Like, she's not out here influencing, taking selfies, drinking my protein shake, tagging no, like, I think we all know like what it takes to be an athlete at that elite level. And I think that for our players, like you really have to have that commitment to yourself and knowing that you got to do something. And if it's not working, do something different. Like I think of, for example, a Danielle Kang.
Bars right there. Do something different.
Danielle Kang switched and went with Butch Harmon. Danielle Kang won like 3 times, I think, in that year.
And back-to-back weeks too.
So I just think that it's that elite athlete mindset, right? That needs to permeate more. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, like those conversations that we're having with the small group in Atlanta, because that's my take, right? I mean, this is just what I've seen. Like I actually played college golf. I was an amateur golfer representing Puerto Rico for years in different international competitions. It's actually funny because I'll go into like player dining and like I'll know a lot of the players. My coworkers are kind of like, wait, what's happening? I'm like, I used to play with these people. Like these are my friends. And so I think at the end of the day, it's just really looking at, what do I need to do or change, right, to be able to get at that level. Hot.
I'm sorry. LD, you mentioned underrated, right? If you had a perfect world connection, from LPGA to underrated, what were some of the plans I guess you implement or you want to try to explore, so to speak?
I mean, I want to try something different. Like at the LPGA, we have a leadership academy, which is all about, it's kind of a 3-tier prong approach that we use for 3 days. It's know yourself, lead others. I'd really love to sort of implement those types of learnings or conversations that we're having because, for girls, we know that, being a teenager is hard.
They're already tribal, so yeah, I get it.
It's tribal, exactly.
I will never let you live that down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, hey, I said what I said. But I'd love for the LPGA to show more of what we're doing in the leadership space to really help girls, lead themselves and learn about themselves. And so they can lead others, so they can learn how to, engage with other people to better prepare them, right, for the next steps in their future, whether it's in their golf career or whether it's in just careers in the corporate.
I love that. I can't wait for the day I see, because I don't see it often, Doug. When I go to these private golf courses where you really have a presence of women in the clubhouse hanging out, buying a round of drinks. It's always on certain days. It's always on Tuesday. It's Tuesday morning.
Tribal nature, man.
No, y'all need to come. Well, y'all need to come down to Jacksonville.
Look, golf won't be fair until the women's lounge looks like the men's locker room.
Absolutely.
All right, that's we'll start there. Laura, thank you so much for coming in here, going beyond the fairway with us. I appreciate that, and we'll figure out ways that we all can work and grow this game together. I think that's the next hurdle, is using the people that are actually in the space to make a damn difference, because I think we're all kind of siloed in our own independent spaces. And once we lift that veil of secrecy and me, my, we'll really get some things accomplished. So thank you so much, going beyond the fairway. And I'm sure you'll see Will before you see me, because Will got some to do. But anyway, thank you so much stepping in here, NBC Sports Golf Channel. We appreciate it.
Appreciate the invite. Take care.
Appreciate it, LD.
Bye.
Well, if you've been listening all season, you already know this. And all of our listeners do, but if you don't, Beyond the Fairway is presented by Genesis Motor America and the 2022 GV80. Luxurious design meets intuitive versatility. Make the game your own. I'll tell you something, Will. I like her.
Yeah,
I really do.
She's dope.
I really do like her.
She's full of dopeness.
She's good. She's good people. She's good people. She got a big job. And I'm glad we had a chance to talk about like what it is that diversity, equity, and inclusion, community relations people do, because I think that's one of those taboo job roles where it's like, just give it to the person of color and put them on the C-suite. Just get them in here on the C-suite, and we'll make sure we don't say anything offensive to any of these communities out here. And,
right, and have them give us their representation of underrepresented point of view. Let's do that.
Hold on, how many boxes do we have to check with this hire? Okay, they have to be of color. Like diversity, play golf. Okay, I'm kidding. But a lot of people think that, and that's why we're making fun of it, because she, as she said, she is a connector. Her job is to build bridges between where golf doesn't usually go and bring things into the fold, and I appreciate that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't also shout out Kendall Murphy over at Troon Golf for similar titles. So I know those two have been in communication and working, and that is what that role is, Will. It's connection.
And Rachel Melendez may be making connections over there at PGA Reach.
All brown people.
Damn, Doug, you keep on pointing out the obvious, man.
Hey, man, I'm just saying. I'm gonna say it.
That's good. All brown people. But the thing about it that she's dedicated to, just kind of making the game more inclusive and growing the game. And when you think about I saw 1.1 million girls are makeup of women's golf, which I thought was amazing.
Oh, say that again.
1.1
million.
Yeah, so it was a big jump from a decade ago. But 1 point junior golfers, 35% or 1.1 million are girls, and that is up from 15% back in early 2000s.
Okay. Well, we did see through COVID, the biggest segmentation of growth in golf, 8 to 12 black women.
Yes, absolutely. And I love the fact that she is driving and pushing, trying to implement new programs, ideas to keep that number going, so we can just have a more inclusive sport. And I think it'd be good.
Well, I'll say this: when I get smacked for calling my wife tribal during our next argument, I'm calling LD. I'm just tell you right now. That's dangerous. She gonna get me beat up because I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna be like, "Your tribal ass," and then get smacked. Well, it's just gonna happen. Thanks, LD. I appreciate that. Time now for the Make the Game Your Own segment presented by Genesis, and as we've already talked to LD in this episode, I think it's fitting that we highlight the Renee Powell Clearview Legacy Benefit, and I'll let you tell the people more about it.
It's basically a benefit fundraiser that is helping Miss Renee Powell continue the efforts of keeping that legacy golf course alive. Renee Powell, father, during the World War II, built a golf course. First started as 9 holes, and then eventually became 18 holes with his bare hands. And Miss Renee Powell is trying to make that course where she sees it needs to be.
That's right.
Especially from aesthetic standpoint. And shout out to LPGA Tour for I guess continuing efforts and having efforts to give Renee Powell her dream and making that course look more beautiful and where it needs to be.
Well,
So
also too,
shout out.
they're building a learning center there. So
Yes.
Renee Powell played on the LPGA tour for 5 years, LPGA professional. Her father PGA professional. And it's about preserving legacy, but it's also about growing the game, and that's why we want to make sure we highlight that right here on Beyond the Fairway, because she only needs $2 million to do what she needs. $2 million. LPGA, PGA Reach is involved, and if you want to get involved, look that up. Make sure you give all you can. Be sure to support the Clearview Legacy Benefit. I mean, they have an outing each year. LPGA Tour stars come out, give clinics. There's always conversations about how to grow the game and get kids involved, etc., etc. So please, 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 please give what you can to support the legacy of Bill and Renee Powell via the Clearview Benefit. So, and that was presented by Genesis. Well, Will, there is no official PGA Tour event this week, but there's some golf going to be played in your backyard. Or your front yard. I forget which yard that you have is in Charlotte. Which one is it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want you really giving out my whole location. So, yes, in the Charlotte area. I live probably 10, 15 minutes from Quail Hollow Golf Club in Charlotte, North Carolina. And that is where the President's Cup, everybody from all over golf is coming. Actually, in the next 5-10 minutes, I am leaving here to head towards the Junior President's Cup, which is held at Myers Park Country Club. And this is about to be an exciting time. The first time in a while that I'm staying in town.
That's nice. That's
sitting
in your own bed.
Man, I got a couple gigs this week, and I'm staying in town while I work. I'm loving this part. Absolutely. But I'm so excited. You know, everybody get to have the opportunity to see what is on display at Quail Hollow, the beautiful Quail Hollow, which is ran by Johnny Harris. Couple PGA Tour players are members of Quail Hollow. I think Harold just joined, Webb Simpson.
He's not a PGA Tour player, but I see what you did.
Good call. Way to correct me on that one. Johnson Wagner, Webb Simpson, couple others. Can't remember, but they're all there. So
none of whom are playing in the President's Cup this week. Team America represented by Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns, Justin Thomas, Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Finau, Cameron Young. That I like Cameron Young. Look out for him. And Billy Horschel will finally making it on a team. We had him on the show. We talked about how important it was for him to represent his country and play for something. There's others on the team as well, but I want to give Billy his flowers for making the team. Colin Morikawa, Kevin Kisner, who got in by a captain's pick as well, Jordan Spieth, Max Homa. I'm not going to read the international team. You know why? Because I'm American. I wish I had a flag like PTI and wave my American flag.
There you go. Kornheiser's his name.
Yeah, I know his name.
That seems loaded. Like
it is loaded.
The average ranking on America's squad is 12, and the international squad is what? I think I read like 46, 47.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
That's a wide margin. But I hope we don't go in there thinking that it's a shoe-in either.
Yeah,
which I'm scared of.
Wide margin too would be the age gap between Adam Scott and Tom Kim. That's a wide margin. Over 20 years there. I'm just put it out there. No offense, Adam. You're a gentleman and a scholar. But I tell you what though, if we are talking international teams, there's some guys I got my eyes on, honestly. K.H. Lee I think can be very dangerous in match play. Very dangerous. I know we're not let me say this. It's what he can do with his iron play that can really pick apart Quail Hollow. We saw Mito Pereira there just miss out in the playoff in the PGA Championship this week. But Tom Kim, I love this kid's game. I got to follow him at Rocket earlier this year. I think he's got plenty of game. I think he's going to be a name that we're going to talk about moving forward. He's one of those guys that's going to step up since other guys are leaving. There's no shortage of guys that want to play on the PGA Tour. And this... He's the definition of it, Will. But they're not playing the same routing this year, Will. They're playing it's like 1 through 8, and then it skips over to like 12 through 16, and then they come back to play 10. I don't know how it worked. I was there.
It's a little different.
is different because they want the marquee holes to be like in the championship. So I appreciate the effort for the routing. But Will, you played there. What are we gonna look for?
I mean, I just think I'm really interested to see how soft the greens will be because we aren't getting any rain here. It is completely dry. So I'm expecting hard greens, and these greens are already hard enough when it comes to all the undulation. Fairways are got to be running pretty fast as well. So I'm just thinking that not only are they playing against the other players, but they also, I mean, they really got to worry about the course too. And the course has to be a factor when it comes to the 4-ball and the head up matches. So I am excited, but I'm interested to see how this new routing is going to play out because I'm so used to the old traditional green mile.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, and one thing being at Quail Hollow a couple weeks ago, Will, I didn't realize how undulating that golf course is. The TV does not do that course justice.
Not at all.
That course is hilly as hell, and it'll be fun. Go America, and the rest of the world. This week I just don't care about. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go.
Yes, my country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Let freedom ring.
I bid you adieu.
That's my. You like my Don King dog? Where my? I wish I had a new flag.
Yeah, and with that, we bid you adieu. Hey, we appreciate you guys rocking with us as always right here Beyond the Fairway, presented by Genesis Golf Channel, NBC Sports. And one episode left in our season, so next week be sure to tune in. And we're gonna take a little break, and then we'll be back. Maybe, probably. I don't know. I'm speaking into existence. Beyond the Fairway, presented by Genesis. We'll holler at you.